Hi, everybody, and welcome to Genre Off Book, our new off-week minisodes where we chat with people about what sort of books they love. Who knows? Maybe we'll end up talking about pop culture. Katy is desperate to talk to the internet about Dancing with the Stars. Who knows what will happen about that? But we're going to start with introducing ourselves in a little bit more detail and setting the tone for these minisodes, which is going to be interviewing friends, people that we really respect and admire, and just to get an idea about what genre sort of made them readers, like what they would recommend to their friends and family about their favorite genre, just to make sure that all genres are represented.
Yeah.
And everybody is heard, and we can really expand all of our TBRs.
Love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Katy's going to go first today.
Yes.
All right, Katy. I mean, we all know who you are, but do me a favor and just introduce yourself again to all of the listeners. Who are you? Where do you come from? How did you get into reading? And then we'll go deeper into the genre later, but give us a little bit of an overview of your reading life.
Okay. Hi, my name is Katy. I'm from New York. I live in New York City and in Delaware. We'll discuss that later. I started reading at a very young age. Fun fact, my name was supposed to be Leanne.
Yep.
Um,
It was me that saved her from that fate.
Yep, my name was supposed to be Leanne, and when Elise came to the hospital to see me when I was a newborn, I guess I cried. And Elise's favorite book at that time was called Katy the Kitten.
I can recite it if you would like me to.
No, we don't need to do it right now. And I guess I cried, and Elise said, "Oh, she sounds like Katy the Kitten." Thank God I did, because that is how I got the name Katy.
Yeah. I'm going to recite the book anyway. It goes like this. Katy the kitten, the small tiger cat, curled up in a ball, asleep in a hat. She's awake now. Entire book.
Yep. And my name is just Katy, Katy. That is it. My name is not Catherine, Kathleen, Caitlin. It's just Katy.
Yeah. So you could say that books made you.
Yeah, I guess you could say literally books made me from day 1 or 2.
Whenever I walked into that room, I don't know how old you were there. I was also small.
Yeah, whenever you walked into that room, that's when.
Thank God they didn't finalize that birth certificate.
Thank God, Leanne.
Before little 1.5-year-old me toddled into that room.
Yeah, and she was like, "Hey, Leanne." Leanne's a beautiful name. I have nothing against anyone named Leanne. It's in fact my middle name. So
yes,
thank you so much.
Okay, so I will start with our first of our 5 big questions.
Okay, hit me with it
when we're talking about books. And the first is, what's your favorite genre, and how did it win you over?
Okay, without a doubt, it's romantasy.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to elaborate on that further. That really took me from someone that was a occasional reader to I need a new book. I need a new book every single time I finish a book.
Was it like a book that hooked you, or was it like a slow descent?
No, so it was definitely a book that hooked me. So I felt like I started reading thrillers. I started reading fantasy books as kids, like A Wrinkle in Time.
Mm-hmm. My all-time favorite.
Yeah, great book. Maximum Ride by James Patterson we talk about.
Oh, yeah. We'll never forget it.
What a crossover I felt like for me personally. But there became a time when thrillers became too real and real life became too scary that I didn't want to read them anymore. I was like, I need something else. I need an escape. I need something that's not entirely real life, but still has those things that hook you.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, it was Twilight.
Yeah. The romantasy before romantasy, really.
Yeah.
The genre didn't have a name at that point, but that is truly, I think, one of the big beginnings.
I think Harry Potter played such a big role in wanting to be in this other world and kind of imagining yourself in a different place, or like seeing yourself in one of the characters in the book. But it was Twilight that took me from a casual reader to I have to finish this book right now. And I think you got me all the books for Christmas one year.
Maybe.
So
Yeah.
maybe it wasn't all of them because they weren't out yet, but I started reading those books. I have a very strong memory of reading them at our house. And I think maybe I was on New Moon or Eclipse during Christmas break. Powerful time in my life.
Powerful.
Erica would say different, but
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Traumatizing I think is how she would characterize it, but still.
I think that is
All consuming. It was
all consuming. I think that was probably the first time it was all consuming. And then shortly thereafter, it was Hunger Games, and then it was the Divergent series,
Yeah.
then it was Mortal Instruments. And so that's when I felt like I started getting into that genre, and it was one book after another, after another, after another.
Well, you and I talk about this all the time, is that romantasy is a new genre. It just recently got a name.
Yeah.
So and honestly, Sarah J. Maas and ACOTAR gave it its name. Like, it was happening before that, but that was when by we, I mean the publishing houses of the world, decided to give it a name. But romantasy really started in the YA space.
Oh, without a doubt.
So that was Twilight, Hunger Games, like you were saying, Divergent. These were more dystopian, and then the real dive into fairies, basically,
Yeah.
happened shortly after that. But there was a period of time where every book that we would call sort of romantasy now is just dystopian. The Ruby books that we love. Why am I forgetting Ruby? What's the name of those books?
Oh, Darkest Minds.
Darkest Minds, yes.
Yeah. The Darkest Minds series was also another great early read. I mean, we also read Throne of Glass before it was.
Well, I was the first of the both of us to do it. And I read Throne of Glass, and I read Throne of Glass and ACOTAR live.
Yeah. No, I mean.
And then shortly, I think I probably read Throne of Glass, maybe 3 books were out. And I was like, Katy, this is outstanding. You should read them.
Yeah,
and then at
and I
that
read
point,
it.
we just sort of read them as they came out.
Yeah. And I think that was what transitioned the YA into adult. You know, there was a time where I would finish reading a book and I could not find something else. And you were reading like romance books, and I was like,
I had transitioned
I don't wanna,
as the mood reader I am.
I don't want to do that. And now there is a never-ending list of books that I can read, and it was not always like that.
It happened in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I definitely went through like a dry spell, and I would finish a book that I absolutely adored. I would start another book, and I was like, honestly, this is like not that great. And then I would just wait until I found something else that hooked me.
Yeah. Well, it was in the period of Kindle Unlimited. People were self-publishing romantasy books, and some of them were great, and some of them were not so great. So you never knew. You could like download the sample of a Kindle Unlimited book that sounded great, and you would know within the first 5 pages. You were like, girl needs to go back, get some editors, and then republish again. And now, whether it's traditionally published romantasy or something on Kindle Unlimited, like the genre is a formula now. Like, and so you can, as long as you have a solid editor and people know what the storyline should be and all of that, you're pretty much guaranteed to download a pretty good book.
Yep.
At this point. But there was a period of time when like the genre was sort of growing, that there was
there's nothing there.
Yeah, there was nothing there.
There's nothing there.
All right. Okay. Question 2.
Yeah.
For someone who has never read romantasy, what book would you hand them first?
So I always say that I would start with ACOTAR.
Yeah.
I think that it is, I mean, if you're someone that's my age, our age, and you're looking to read an adult fantasy book that continues to grow, I would always say ACOTAR. I know that there's a lot of people that are like, I'm not interested in reading about fairies. And I'm like, it's just not all that.
Yeah.
It's literally everything you would read in any other type of genre. It's mystery. It's some sort of romance. But I think that's
fighting the man,
like some sort of power struggle. I think it's the best interpretation of all of those things into one series. And so I would always say to start with ACOTAR. But I do believe that we have some non-believers, and
It's rough. Sometimes people can't get behind the fairies.
sometimes people can't get behind the fairies. And I will say another series, we were just talking about it earlier tonight, The Magicians of Venice, is another really great entry into romantasy or fantasy that has more of a today. Like it takes place in this type of world, but there's magic and there's mystery, but it is more aligned with what's going on today. So you feel less like, oh my God, there's men with wings.
Yeah. Well, it's the difference between how we used to talk about fantasy, which was high fantasy is wings, fairies, dragons. The world is a whole new world, has nothing to do with the one that we live in.
Yep.
And that's ACOTAR. But then there's worlds like, let's say, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Where, sure, there's a whole other magical world, but there's the normal world too.
Yeah.
Or Shadow Hunters, Cassandra Clare.
Yeah, see,
something
that
like
was
that.
such
That is normal world, a magical world that is happening in parallel, but
love that.
those tend to be sometimes an easier sort
Gateway.
of a gateway into it. But
Yep.
Magicians of Venice by Anna.
She has a very tricky last name. Ooh, it's like.
But same thing. It's and it's what I like about that too, is that the main characters are older, they're full adults.
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah, and so it's a shadow world. She's an architect and happens to stumble upon this whole world of magicians as she's looking at her, her site
Artifacts.
and things like
Ugh,
that. So
it's giving bones.
yes, it is giving a little bit.
It gives bones plus magic, and I think that's so fun.
Yeah.
Ugh.
A really solid 3-book series too. Really
Yeah.
tight, really good, solid romance, a real hunk of a main character.
Yep, I loved it.
Yeah.
And the author is Amy Kuvalainen.
I believe we're mispronouncing it, but we'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
So
But
people can search for it, but really good series.
Man, is that a terrific series.
Yeah. All right. So if you were to have converted somebody to the romantasy series, what then book would you recommend to them? If they were in. They were I'm into it. Doesn't matter. Dragons, fairies, gargoyles, don't worry about it. I'm in. What would you recommend to them? What's a deep cut?
Ooh, that's a good question that I did not prepare. Honestly, I would say the first book that I've recommended this year to other people has been Rose and Chains.
Yeah.
And if you're already in the world, you already are comfortable with the romantasy landscape, Rose and Chains was something that I knew could bring some of my friends that haven't read a good book or haven't really been interested in a romantasy book for a few years, knew that they would love this. It eats you up right when you start reading it. And so right now, I would probably say Rose and Chains is the book that I would recommend to people.
Okay. And honestly, that makes sense. It's a little darker. It's dealing with a lot of other themes. So you don't want to throw it at a new reader.
No, I'm not. That is not something I would ever throw at a new reader.
Yeah.
But it is something that if you love this genre and you're looking for a book, I would say this is something that stands on its own. It's a little bit different that I think is really good.
Yeah. All right. What do you think is the biggest misconception about romantasy?
I think that people are just oh my God, it's men with wings.
Yeah.
And
fairy smut.
It's fairy smut. But then I'm just laughing and I'm you guys are just reading smut. You're just reading other people's smut, adult smut. And it's no fucking different. And I think that people get the ick, or they think that they would get the ick when it's vampires, werewolves, fairies, these different types of mystical creatures or people, but it's still all the same thing. It's all the same thing that you would find in any other book. If you love to read, the same tropes, the same challenges, conflicts are in these books as they are in others. And it is almost more fun to watch these other people go through those same types of conflicts and challenges. But they got wings.
Got wings, man.
They're busy with magic.
They can fly.
They can fucking fly. Like, come on. So I think it brings another element that is just outside of what you're already reading today. It just brings more excitement, personally.
All right. Do you think there's something that people miss when they just like dismiss it out of hand? Is there anything?
Yeah, man, because I have friends right now that are like, "Oh, you love to read, but I don't like to read that stuff."
Erica.
Yeah. Erica, Lori. Like, people are, I think you're missing out on a world that you can really fall into. I feel like they're reading books that they want to relate to. And you can still relate to these romantasy books, but you are taken out of your everyday life and put into a new one, and it's a total escape.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like you get that same feeling from a romance book or, some sort of thriller or contemporary fiction, something like that.
I think I agree with that. Nothing like a high fantasy book where you recognize nothing to be like, who cares about work?
Yeah.
There's a fight for power. There's a fight between good and evil happening.
Yeah.
in my book.
I will tell you, there's nothing less that I want to do than read about the real world and work challenges and all of that kind of stuff when I get home at the end of the day from doing my real world job.
Yeah.
I don't want to read about it for 5 hours.
No.
No
No.
thanks.
All right. What's your genre comfort zone? Like, what's the trope moment? Is there like a vibe that always sort of hits? Is there something that's always going to make you kick your little feet?
It's always going to be enemies to lovers.
Okay.
Like, I think that's a trope.
Classic.
Yeah, I know. It's so classic. It's so basic. I think that's always what I'm interested in. I hate a love triangle.
Yeah.
I do love a marriage of convenience. I think that that's fun and exciting.
Yeah.
But I love enemies to lovers. It's just like that banter. It's the tension. That's what I love. I think it's great.
It's a classic for a reason.
Of course.
It is all about that banter, baby.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And if you could read only one genre, would this be the only genre you would read for the rest of your life, or would you cheat on it for anything?
If I could only get one genre, yeah, for sure. It would be it.
Okay.
I would be, you know what? Nowadays, I could be satisfied knowing that I have an endless amount of books that I can read in this particular genre. If you asked me 10 years ago, where I'm like fighting for books that I want to read, that would be a different story. But yeah, no, I could do this forever.
All right. And final question.
Yeah.
What do you think that your genre says about you? Or are we like thinking about it too deeply? What does this mean, Katy? What do you think your deep devotion to romantasy says about you?
That I love men with red flags. And
Okay.
I hate the world that I live in today.
I have some follow-up questions, but you know what? That's not for now. That's not for this podcast. Take that to your therapist session. Take that to therapy. Accurate and self-aware. Well done. Well done, Katy.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Well, I guess that's the end of our first ever genre off book. Thank you for Katy for being our test subject
Of
and
course.
going through the questions first. And I think next time will be me,
Yeah.
Elise, and then we'll have a bunch of fun guests that we'll post again every other week on the off weeks in between our big book episodes.
All right.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.